What's up, Casselberry? It's Drew, it's Andy, it's producer Robin, and happy 2024 from the What's Up Casselberry podcast.
Yay!
Woohoo! That's right. If you're listening to this, we have made it a whole nother year since we were in your ears.
Yes.
America's favorite, or at least Casselberry's favorite
We
podcast.
must be coming up to an anniversary soon because we started in January 2020 when the world had no idea what COVID was. So this is now officially our
Fourth.
fourth. Man, that's basic math. I failed. This is our fourth year of podcasting. So happy birthday to us. But as you said, happy anniversary to you both as well.
There's a lot in that statement, Andy. One is just, kind of sadly reflect like simpler times, January 2020 versus today in many regards. Like just simpler, more naive times.
Yeah.
The other thing
we were all so innocent.
The other thing that's sad is like we've been doing this for 4 years and have we gotten better?
Well, I have. Okay, so New Year's. Robin,
Yes.
This is the question everyone wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
December 31st, 11:59.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you kiss?
They were nameless.
That is a awkward silence.
I signed an NDA.
That's who'd you want to kiss?
Well, let me get my list.
Drew, did you have a nice
I
New Year's Eve?
didn't. Well, I didn't kiss anybody at 11:59 because I'd been asleep
Bro, you had like 5 options.
for an hour.
You had 5 options. Just
We
to
actually-
clarify, Drew has got 1 wife and 4 kids.
We no, this was actually really fun. So yes, listener, if you're new to the podcast, we have 4 little kids at the Taylor house, and my wife had the great idea. I think somebody else in our friend group had done this before. We did a little party in our front lawn area, and had the neighborhood kids over and some other friends, and did some activities kind of related to New Year's. But what was fun was we did a YouTube countdown that we projected on the screen wall at 6 p.m. like right when it got dark. And so the kids got to celebrate. They got to blow their horns and drink like little apple juice toast.
I love
and
that.
It was really sweet. Confetti. We had the whole thing. But yeah, it was 6 o'clock. So really, in one sense, it felt like that aura, the excitement, the joy. It was done. So everything after that was kind of like,
So you celebrated the French New Year
Yeah,
because I
somewhere
think
in
they're
Europe.
6 hours ahead of us. I love that. Drew, I did stay up till midnight, which is something apparently I don't often do because I'm an early to bed guy. But I did have this little secret advantage this year, is that we actually flew in from spending Christmas in Missouri. And so even though it was midnight, it was actually only 11 o'clock body time. So that was a win.
that is a win. Yeah. And I thought you were going to say one advantage, having lived in Casselberry for several years, is Casselberrians like to do fireworks.
Oh my goodness. One of my New Year's resolutions is to kind of keep working out, and we talk about that a little bit as we get to our conversation later. So 6 o'clock, New Year's Day, up, ready, let's do it. I'm going to keep this resolution. And it was probably a little bit later. It's probably 7:15 because the sun was up and the sun was beautiful. But it looked like there was a foggy haze. And I'm like, hang on, that doesn't make sense because I can see the sun and the skies are clear. Yet there's this foggy haze, and it dawned on me, oh my goodness, this is the kind of firework residue. It was intense. And then, as I'm kind of running around the neighborhoods, there's just piles and piles of these explosive containers just sitting there.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I like to say Casselberry loves America. It really does. We're very proud of, even though that's a different holiday altogether. It's reason to.
Did you know there is a holiday in England on November 5th called Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes Night? And that is actually the celebration of when a gentleman called Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. So there are holidays that celebrate blowing things up.
V for Vendetta. That's one of my favorite movies. V for Vendetta is kind of based around that.
Oh, I've never seen that.
With Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I don't watch those kind of movies. But
kind of violent, but that's all right. Robin, any just initial New year, new Robin. You're always inspirational on your social
Thank
media.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What would you share with the people?
I'm just going to continue to be my best self,
Okay.
to be a little more kinder to myself. When you don't stick to the resolutions one day or something. And also can just continue to dominate and tower over my enemies, the usual.
There you go. Girl
That
boss.
sounds like you. I'm going to tower over and dominate my enemies and anyone who gets in the way.
Yes, including myself. That I'm also then going to be kind to. So I'm very complex, as usual.
So in other news, unrelated, we're looking for a new sponsor. We'd love to get a mental health therapist to sponsor us, if that's possible. Just totally unrelated to what Robert just said.
We do hope our listeners have had a happy start to the new year, and we're glad to be back. We've got some, just as always, some great guests lined up. We've got some worthwhile things to talk about in Casselberry. There's a lot. I mean, there's honestly ongoing changes and parks and elections and all kinds of things to discuss. So welcome back to our listeners for the 4th year of the podcast.
Yeah. So maybe you should spill that Casselberry tea that you were telling us about. I know we haven't done the dad joke yet, but let's mix it up for the new year.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
So the news section is now called The Tea in Casselberry
tea-
with Andy Searles.
Well, now that I know what spilling the tea means, because I was educated by you, Robin, who
you're
is
welcome.
my reference point for all cultural insight and knowledge. Yeah, Casselberry in the news. Casselberry was in the news actually today in today's paper, and one of our commissioners, Andrew Meadows, was noted, and there was an interview with Randy Newland, both previous guests on the podcast, I believe, who is our city manager, because Commissioner Meadows has just resigned recently. We're very grateful for his service. Really brought some brilliance and some strength and some business acumen to our commission. But as he resigned, he shared the reason why he was leaving was because of Form 6. And the article in the paper today was about Form 6, which is a financial disclosure form that used to be reserved for folks in high state level office, but has been, in the name of transparency, brought down to local commissioners. And there's lots of local commissioners and mayors who are very troubled by this. And looking at the form and reading about it in the paper, I understand their concern. This form asks you to reveal anything that you own over $1,000. Now, for some of us, that would be a short form, but that's a lot of detail and a lot of very private and personal stuff that you're putting out there. And the argument against it is that really at this level of leadership, the financial disclosure forms as they were was enough. And so there's some concern, and I understood why Commissioner Meadows resigned, but it was fascinating to read in the paper. There are actually 18 mayors and commissioners around Central Florida, and probably, if I'm reading things right, more to come because of this new form that's been asked to fill out. So,
Yeah,
any thoughts on that?
well, it'll be interesting. I totally agree with Commissioner Andrew Meadows. Just getting to know him through the Chamber of Commerce and involved with the city, he really did do a great job, and we thank you, Commissioner, for your service. It will be fascinating to see the ramifications, for example, of who might run in future elections, or those who may not run for various reasons. I could see folks, maybe being especially those with some different businesses or different means, could be a little bit more hesitant to kind of have some of their private affairs made public in the name of serving the public. And so, I almost wonder, it's transparency, yes, but is it transparency with a purpose, or is it more of hey, we're just trying to almost create this level of accountability so then we can report if so-and-so does something and make assumptions about their motivations behind the decisions they make or the votes they cast. So it will be interesting moving forward. My hope is that we will continue to get very wise, knowledgeable, caring individuals who live in Casselberry to serve as city commissioners. And so this is just another way of again, holding transparency, accountability, but certainly we'll have some impact for sure. Andy, in our discussions, we both know many people who have run for office. Just what's the process for filling that vacant role?
Yeah, so actually I have a little inside track on this because we remember talking about a few months ago, I was on a charter review committee that really sought to establish the process for moments like this. And so this week, the city has made the community aware of this situation in a newspaper, in their email, and there is an application period for this empty seat next week. I think it's Monday through Friday. And then there is a special commission meeting the following Monday where the commissioners will review the applications. There's a couple of other steps in the process and then decide who they would like to fill this empty spot. I know at least one very good candidate who's going to put their name in the hat for that, and I'm sure there are more as well. And then once that candidate is in place, they will have to run for the seat they're sitting in at the next election cycle, which is in November. So again, I'm a little nerdy on this stuff, but it's a very interesting change that's taken place in Tallahassee that's affecting us at local level and triggering some interesting changes to our city leadership at the commission level. But I'm confident we've got some great people and we got some great candidates and great things are happening in the city, and we will not miss a beat.
That's right. I think another conversation, we'll move on now, but another conversation worth having, maybe just to file away, would be to have a conversation on kind of people that are interested in serving and being involved at the local Casselberry level. Kind of what are those avenues, whether it's committees to serve on or not-for-profit organizations that serve the city, but just kind of what are maybe helping shape and explain some of the avenues for which people might be able to come to the table and learn more about how we.
That is a great idea. Next episode, we have our football special, our Super Bowl special with a local football hero. But maybe as we look into February, we could do opportunities to serve in our community show.
That'd be great. Very good.
You could also say that it is important, especially with the upcoming general election for the country, that it is good to be nerdy on these things because things high up do affect us on a local basis, and it's good to be informed.
Yes, that was a great PSA.
Thank you. Now make me laugh.
All right. It's what we do best. We love to make producer Robin and hopefully you, listener, laugh at our dad jokes of the week. And we've got some exciting ones here. Andy, I've been working very hard behind the scenes for hours and hours. That's a joke. I've been looking for the past 3 minutes on finding some jokes that would be applicable to our segment here. So here we go. Dad jokes. Andy and I are both dads. The dad jokes of the week. I will start us off. First jokes of 2024. This was under a search for dad jokes 2024, and this is what came up with. All right, here we go.
Hang on, is that the first time on air that Drew has admitted his source?
Yeah.
Is this like one of your?
No, he has admitted it many times.
Okay, this is like your coming out moment about where your jokes really come from.
I'm admitting that I do get the joke. I do not come up with these myself. That's right. All right, here we go. Robin, what are you a cat person?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Robin, why don't cats play poker?
Why?
There's too many cheetahs.
Yeah.
Too many cheetahs. All right, it's another animal joke here. Another animal joke. What do you call a bear with no ears?
What?
Bee.
Get it, Andy? Because
I'm dying here.
how do you spell bear?
All right, this one's gonna get a groan, but I don't care. It was funny to me. I feel like the original dad jokes are the chicken crossed the road, or the chicken and the egg. Andy, where do eggplants come from? Where do eggplants come from?
The ground?
Chicken plants.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. There's just
my
stunned
goodness.
silence.
Hey,
for
Drew,
Andy.
talking about that, did you hear the guy on Amazon who ordered both a chicken and an egg at the same time, but in different packages?
Huh.
To see who came first.
To see which came first, which was delivered first. All right, I got a few dad jokes. I know that you guys are my audience, so I've kind of got to dumb them down a little bit for you. But the problem is I know a bunch of good jokes about umbrellas.
Okay.
But they usually go over people's heads.
Nice. Okay. All right.
I don't really think you're dumb. That was just a setup for the joke. So forgive me for that. Anyway, good news in this new year. My bank keeps calling me and giving me compliments. Did you know that, Robin?
No, what are they saying?
Oh, they say I have an outstanding balance.
Same.
Drew looks at his phone. He looks up at me and he goes, One final joke. Just a random thought. Barbers.
Yeah.
I really admire them.
Why?
I have to take my hat off to them.
I think you made a barber joke. I was like, if he makes the same barber joke.
Was it the same that I did?
No, it was something about, it was going to space and cutting hair or something. I don't remember. We have to go back and listen. But anyway, too many of these.
If only there was an archive of past episodes that you could
Robin,
listen to.
where could you listen to past?
You can listen to us on any of your podcast platforms, but you could also just go straight to whatsupcasberry.com and find all 140 something episodes.
Yeah, hey, we got to be close to
We will be almost at 150.
150. So this
I don't think it's this episode, but
4-year anniversary, episode 150, all within the same part of the year.
Awesome. Wow. Here we go. Moving and grooving. 27 more years to go.
Oh, I'll be dead by then.
before we get into a meat of our
might be
conversation, let's take a break for our sponsor.
Are you looking to be part of something bigger? A community that fosters growth, prosperity, and support? Look no further than the Casselberry Chamber of Commerce. Since 2003, we have been dedicated to promoting the prosperity of the greater Casselberry community. But we don't stop there. We are proud supporters of local entrepreneurs, offering scholarships to high school graduates, making donations to food pantries, art programs, local schools, and more. We are not just another division of a larger organization or run by big businesses. In fact, 85% of our membership is comprised of small businesses with 35 employees or fewer. As a member, you'll have access to numerous networking functions and opportunities for personal and professional development. From monthly business luncheon with inspiring speakers to women networking luncheons, ribbon cuttings, and business after hours, we have something for everyone. And check out our annual events, including golf and kickball tournaments and food and wine festival. There's always something exciting happening at the Casselberry Chamber. Join us today and become part of the Casselberry Chamber family. Together, let's make the greater Casselberry community an even better place to live, work, and play. We are here to create value for our members and help your business thrive. Visit CasselberryChamber.com for more information.
All right, listener, we are back. And in lieu of a guest, we felt like this is the first episode of 2024. We really wanted to lean into one of Andy and I's passions, which is leadership. And so we're going to talk for a few minutes, just kind of some of the things we've learned regarding setting goals and resolutions. And so we're calling this segment, in lieu of an interview or a conversation, we're just calling it Leadership Minute or Leadership 20 Minutes.
With Andy Suros.
So Andy, to set us up here, you recently posted on your Facebook page, which has thousands and thousands of subscribers and likes.
My mom, my sisters, my kids. Yeah.
It went viral. But
and Robin.
That's right. But no, you posted a really interesting graphic where you had taken the time to kind of give an overview, and I'm assuming part of it is just to keep the memory of this particular year, 2023. But you posted, I noted the amount of books you read, approximately the number of meetings you held, the amount of time you exercised. Like, it was a really holistic sort of graphic that highlighted your physical goals and well-being, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual. Talk a little bit about that and the process behind that.
Yeah, so just before I do, let me say this is a very vulnerable conversation with me, because it was a big step for me to put some of that stuff on social media. I have done things like this for a number of years, right? And I'll talk about that process in a minute. But I really wanted to share it, and I'm excited to talk about it today in the hope that as we examine our lives, we'll be able to build a better life in 24. I forget who it was. I think it was Aristotle who said the unexamined life isn't worth much. And I'm paraphrasing and butchering his thing. But a number of years ago, I took that to heart because I realized it was true in my life. You know, we all experience this, right? It's easy for life just to happen to us. We do what we got to do. We kind of just slide forward. Things come, things go. And before we know it, we're a lot older than we thought we were. And, you know, the clock's ticking and that kind of stuff. So one of the challenges for me a number of years ago was to try and manage and understand what it looked like for me to live a full, faithful, productive life. And as a Christian, being faithful is something that's very, very important to me. And I realized that in order to do that, I needed to know what was going on and be intentional about knowing what I was going to do. And so I started, again, Robin, you know this about me, I'm very nerdy, in a very nerdy way, capturing what I did, right? So I've got Excel files that at the end of every day has about 50 categories on it, and I will fill in the meetings that I had or the conversations that I had that fit that category. I have a to-do list. I use an app called Todoist, where I capture everything I've got to do. If I get an idea, I'll put it on there. And I got some kind of mental disorder that if I do something that's not on the list, I'll do it and then put it on the list, right? Just to check off, because there's some kind of reward, intrinsic reward in doing that, right? So I have this Excel file that captures my time commitments, where I spend my time. I have this task list that measures the tasks that I do. I have a journal that I keep faithfully. I write in every morning about the day prior. And so I've got all these kind of metrics in place, right, to try and capture what I'm doing and measure what I'm doing, right? Again, it's a good discipline. It's perhaps healthy for my mental health somewhat, but it's pretty nerdy as well. But where all this stuff really pays off for me is at the end of the year, when I can go back and evaluate the previous year. And what I found is the strength of doing that helps close out the year and helps me start a new year, but it also helps me to look at who I am and evaluate goals so that I can set new goals for the year ahead, right? So often with goals and resolutions, right, we kind of reach up to the sky, try and pick something out and say, oh, that sounds good, I want to do that. I've done that. I do. In fact, I've got some resolutions this year that are just kind of pulled out the sky. But because I've got some data behind how I live my life, I can set goals that are a little bit more data-driven and data-measured, right? So, for instance, one of the things that I was incredibly embarrassed by last year was that I only went to the gym or worked out 88 times, right? Which, doing the math, because I'm a nerd, was 1.7 times a week. Right? Mm-hmm. And again, doctors say, right, at a minimum, if you want to be healthy, you got to do three times a week when your heart is kind of beating more than normal. And I was way below that, right? And so I track, and like last year, oh my goodness, this is terrible. And so this year, I turn it into a goal. Now, I don't want to be naive enough to say I'm going to work out 365 days a year, but I can do better than 88, right? I can probably at least get to 100. I can probably, if I'm intentional about it, get to 150, right? So being able to measure what I did last year helps me set goals for this next year, right? And the working out one is a negative example of that, where I failed last year. On the positive,
to jump in real quick, keep that thought. It occurs to me the way what you're talking about. It's almost like that Benjamin Franklin when he's asked about electricity and how many times he failed to find. He said it wasn't 99 failures; it was 99 ways that I learned that I learned something and it didn't work. And so in some senses the real key you're hitting on is not taking your lack of doing something personally and saying like I'm a failure because I only worked out 88 times, but instead saying this is what it is. This is the reality.
Yeah.
Let me use that as a springboard to motivate myself.
Yeah, and I've got a base, and I think that's a good point. One of my favorite leadership quotes is by a guy called Max Dupree, who said that the first role of a leader is to define reality, right? Because if we start from somewhere that's not real, we're going to end up at somewhere that's not real, right? But if we can define reality and start from reality, then we know where we're going. So for me, last year, 88 workouts, not great, but I've got somewhere that I can build towards next year. And one of my goals is to increase that. Just FYI, we're recording on the 4th of January. I am 4 out of 4 days, right? I'm working out.
Well on the way to 150.
Because I prioritized it because I was embarrassed by what happened last year. On the flip side, though, it's not just about embarrassing and shame management and learning from mistakes. I read 67 books last year. And again, I don't mean to brag. I hope it doesn't come across, but that's a big deal. I was told in elementary school that I wasn't going to go very far because I didn't read very much. And honestly, through middle school and high school, I wasn't a huge reader. And so for me later in life to become a big reader, that's a big win for me. And I'm celebrating that. I'm holding it loosely because it was a high number. And again, I've tracked that for 7 years. This was my highest ever. And I may not get there this next year, but I figure, hey, if I can get in the 50 range, a book a week, I'm doing well, right? So it helps me kind of level out what I'm thinking.
Do my kids' nursery books before bedtime, do those count?
If you need them to count, Drew, they can.
Then I might have hit 60.
Yeah, that's right. It's the 4th of July and Drew's on 25.
They're all pictures. They're all pictures.
Yeah. But so anyway, that's kind of part of how I set goals, right? I'm measuring last year so I can measure this year. Just to throw, for the sake of it, some fun facts out there about me. Please. In the spirit of vulnerability. I did have 1,677 appointments last year. Now, some of those are personal. Some of those are work-related. Some of those are just fun.
Robin, you and I are in and amongst.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
You were a statistic.
Right. Right. So when we get together and we record 2 at a time, I will mark on my little daily calendar 2 podcasts recorded. That actually means I have 32 appointments a week and 4.5 a day. Right. And again, that's helpful because if I've just got 1 appointment, I can just relax and enjoy it. But if I've got like 7, I can say, whoa, that's way above average. I need to dial back on that. Right. In my journal, which I do in Word, I wrote 176,622 words in my journal.
I wondered about your word count because I was like, there's no way he went back and manually counted.
Yeah.
That would have taken a long time. Yeah.
Of that 176,000, I'm pretty sure about 150,000 had typos in. But again, it's a discipline because I want to learn and I want to grow and I want to make sure I'm processing things. I was a part of 38 podcast conversations last year.
Other than ours?
Well, a big proportion of those are us, right? 26 of those are ours because we do one every 2 weeks. But yes, I did moonlight on a few other podcasts. But you are not one to throw shade at that, Robin, who is on 4 podcasts like every day or something. Let me see. I drove my son to school 144 times.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's great.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I went on 18 flights, which I think is my highest flight count ever as well. On your phone, you can measure sleep. I was surprised by this. I get 7 hours, 33 minutes on average of REM sleep a night, which is good.
Very nice.
I would like more, but it's good.
All of these numbers, it's fascinating, just the human experience. Take our pastor hats off for a minute or on. There's something about we desire to measure up, like we desire to hit certain standards. And I love how you framed it. And listener, we need to hear this as we think about it's January 2024, and you all have made resolutions, and I've made resolutions, or whether they're stated and written or just in our heads. It's that tension of doing things, and Andy's given some very good practical nuggets, and also not allowing yourself to be defined as a success or a failure simply by the metrics, right? That we are more than that, but metrics do serve a role. They are a tool to help us along the way.
Yeah, that's really important to say. And to add to that with a couple of things, first of all, these numbers don't define my life, right? In fact, on the social media post, I wrote the sentence, let me see if I can find it. I've got to hit the see more button, that's why I can't read it right there. This sort of put, I'm grateful of the ups and downs of what was a challenging year for me, because it was on lots of levels. All submit to a kind grace that is greater than my highs and lows. And I don't want my life to be defined by these numbers. My life is defined by God's kindness and God's grace to me. But the numbers are helpful in me responding to God and seeing how I'm doing. Am I living in a faithful way, right, that is prioritizing what I say I value, or am I kind of throwing my values to the side, right? And I think if we're going to say, hey, I'm a Christian, I follow God, I need to have some integrity in terms of living what I say. Second thing, yes, first of all, I do say it with a humility because these don't own me. But secondly, and this was a fear when I shared the original post as well, this isn't a competition either, right? I'm not sharing these numbers to say, hey, look at me. I'm certainly not saying, hey, look at these numbers, I'm better than you. I'm sharing these numbers because I want to say, hey, wherever you are right now, you can get better. If you're feeling a little off mission, if you feel like life is drifting, you don't have to drift, right? But you're not going to find out where you want to go until you know where you are. So find a way to figure out where you are so you can figure out where you're going. Does that make sense? Yeah. So again, I really want to over-communicate. This is not a competition at all. This is a, hey, let's define reality so we can figure out where we're going. And to say, yeah, these numbers don't define us. My identity is not found in these figures. It's found in someone else.
Yeah. Well, Andy, thank you for kind of peeling back the onion there. That was really, really fascinating and very vulnerable, as you said. I really appreciate that. You know, it to me, it takes something, and this is just a general observation about resolutions and goal setting. I think about my own life. It takes whatever your process is, whether it's what Andy does or some other process, but having the intentionality and focus to take something like goal setting, which can be so abstract, right? I want to lose weight. I want to look better. I want to do X, Y. I want to travel more.
Yeah, I want all of those things.
I want more money. Yeah, all this. To actually, as my old youth pastor would say, put tennis shoes on that. Like have your feet actually supplanted in practical, obtainable measures that you can track and mark along the way to encourage you.
Yeah, I think that's a great phrase, to put tennis shoes on it. And so for me, at the end of the year, when I can look at these stats and pick them apart, that helps me see where I am and where I want to go. But that's only half of the evaluation process for me. The other is more of a reflective, subjective evaluation to go with these objective numbers. And so for me, just again to be vulnerable, I have a special journal that I only write in the last week of the year called Pains and Gains. And so I've got like a 20 version, a 21 version, a 22 version, a 23 version. And again, this is deeply personal. But in it, I will list all the things that I can remember that hurt me this year. But I will also list all the things where I thought I grew, where I thought I succeeded, where something did go wrong. Often the pain list is a lot longer than the gain list. But I have found that very, very helpful in processing things, letting go of things, especially the pains, so that I don't bring them into the new year, right? One of the very painful things that happened for me last year was that the best man at my wedding passed away. And it shook me in lots of ways that just questioned a lot of stuff. I would hate to go into a new year, a clean slate, with some of that pain still. Now, again, don't hear me, I'm not saying, oh, process it, done, next. I'm not there. But sometimes we just need to sit and reflect and work through before we can move forward in a healthy way.
Beautiful. Well said. Well, hopefully, listener, there were lots of little nuggets there. Take your time. Go back and re-listen. Andy, for all the jokes you make and the fun we have together, you really are a wise, insightful guy. We really appreciate that. And we're looking forward to an exciting 2024. Maybe as just a closing thought on the episode as a whole. What would be, I know I'm putting us on the spot here, what would be a resolution for the podcast? Anything come to mind?
Ooh. Robin, what you got?
Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
In fact, Robin's got a long list of things that we can do better and need to measure better.
Replace the host. No, I'm just kidding. I definitely think, personally, want to improve the quality. I think it's getting there. I think it is there to the most part, but always learn more skills and put back into the podcast to make it the best possible. I want a librarian on this podcast. How none of you know one, I don't know.
If you, listener, know a librarian
Seminole
in our
County
community,
or the Castle, can we just go to the Casselberry Library and be like, can one of you interview?
Well, here's the problem. You're not allowed to talk in the library.
Exactly. No, you can't talk loudly.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. Anyway.
Robin, for you, Drew and I are going to go right to the top. We're going to try and find out who runs the Library of Congress.
Sure.
And get them on the show.
A resolution for me for the podcast. To me, it really, this podcast has really become so driven about the guests, and so I think when we kind of talk offline and spitball, speculate on kind of who would be interesting, who would be, I would say a resolution would be that we have a real clear diversity of guests from different places of involvement, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different stories to tell, really wanting to look back at the podcast catalog, as it were, and be pleased, not trying to hit any kind of quota, but just be very pleased with, like, we got a good swath of representation of our community and the people that we have on the air.
That's good. It's a good goal. That's good goals. I think I would add to that, I'd love to build our team a little bit. And a couple of reasons for that. One, I think we're a fun team. I mean, there's a lot of laughter that goes on the air and off the air. Whether other people find it funny is debatable, but we have a good time. And so I'd love to invite others into that space to, appreciate that. And secondly, we do have some needs as well. I think that, if we had someone who's really good at communication, someone who's really pretty handy on social media, there's a lot of ways that we could go further faster as a podcast, because I think we're doing something good. I think we're shining a spotlight on some very significant things that are happening in our community. We're helping profile some of those unsung heroes, and I think our world needs more of that. So maybe just to close my hope for the podcast in the new year with a request. Listener, if you have skills in communication, social media, organization, finding guests, let us know, and we'd love to chat with you about joining the team.
Beautiful. Well, there you have it. That's our podcast today. Robin, do you want to sign us off until next time?
Sure. Thank you for listening to the What's Up Casselberry podcast, hosted by Andy Searles and Drew Taylor and produced by Robin Kepi. For more information or to find out how you can be part of our team, go to whatsupcasselberry.com.
And again, single gentlemen, please send your resumes with picture into whatsupcasselberry.com, and we will pass them on to the lovely Robin Kepi.
Until next time.
Drop the mic.
Have a good week.